Welcome to one and all. Welcome to Jake Roos. This is Bark After Dark. We're back live. We got a good guest tonight. We got Bill Shanks of Middle Georgia fame, Superstations.
A friend to both of us. I should
say. Dude. Bill's the man. Bill was got a little story to tell about Bill once he gets on here. Nothing bad at all. I don't have a bad word to say about Bill. But I got a story to tell about my first ever radio interview and all that stuff. But we're going to get to Bill real quick because I know he's going to be joining us here pretty fast. What you drinking tonight, man?
Tonight I have the HAZY IPA by Sweetwater. So it's got a little bit of those citrus notes. You're hydrating, I assume.
I'm just little mineral water and lime here. It's sad because I got this beautiful bottle of Wild Common tequila today and this beautiful bottle of G4 tequila that I am going to be sipping on soon, but not today because Sunday got out of hand for your boy. Continuing to celebrate the old 40th birthday.
Yeah, by the way, happy birthday to Jake Rowe, man. 40 years on the planet. Did he see it for himself? I don't know.
Everything every day above ground from here on out is just gravy. Never thought I'd make it this far.
I thought that since I was like 6, dude.
All right. Hey, before we get to Bill, I do want to take the time to acknowledge GameTime.co. That's .co, not com, gametime.co. I downloaded the app. Use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, and you get $20 off of your first order. Terms apply here. And listen, I got a little bit of a you have to order. It's a certain amount. I'm not 100% sure how much. You have to go for a certain amount to get that $20 off. But listen, these folks specialize in ticket availability. Whether it's 10 days out, whether it's 10 minutes out, that's what they're trying to get you there for. They want you to rely on them for your last minute needs, for your planning needs, whatever it is. The app is super interactive. It's intuitive. It's very, very smart. And one of the things that I loved about it, just from kind of digging around in there, is that feature you see right there. Like, you go into some apps and, man, you open them, you got to open them up or get to a couple different screens before you see that. And then you see an empty stadium. If you want to look at your view, they give you a look at what it's like in the stadium while you're there. That's gametime.co. Listen, I've messed around with that app for a couple days now because we're going to be trying to go to a Braves game next week. And I like it, man. I like the app a lot. Go check them out. Get $20 off your first order with terms applying with the promo code DAWGS. Let's welcome on Bill Shanks.
Oh, the illustrious
Bill Shanks.
No question, man.
Bill, what's up, man?
How are you guys?
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us.
Man, I am so honored to be on this show because you guys have been coming on my show for years, and now I get to return this favor. So y'all been ruining my show for years. I get to ruin your show.
I wonder if we could get you to do one of your ad reads on here. One of the ones that listen, Bill, Roos and I riff on that little 1 minute we wait before you come in and everything. Yeah. We riff on the ads that come in all the time. We make each other laugh so hard. With not just the ones you do, but just in general. That the one that
Marble Masters.
God, Marble Masters kills me.
Quick story. That guy hadn't done radio advertising in years, and my salesman walked in there about 6 years ago, and he said, I listened to the Shanks show. If you can find that commercial I did 35 years ago, I'll do it. And I'm like, okay, I'll find it. And I found it. And it was a 60-second commercial done in 1984. It was the best commercial ever done in Middle Georgia radio. He's been on ever since. People tell me all the time, I love Marble Masters, but God, I can't have that damn commercial.
Listen, it sticks in your head big time. Big time.
It's great.
No, Bill, like I said, man, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you bringing us on, man, and letting us talk dogs on your show. We kind of start this off normally when we bring a guest on, just kind of talking about your background a little bit, man. Obviously, you're the man down there at the super stations, but where does Bill Shanks come from? How does Bill Shanks get to where Bill Shanks is?
Well, I'm originally from Waycross in South Georgia.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know. Waycross is a suburb of Pearson, Georgia. I don't know if you know that. I've done this all my life. I've wanted to. I used to take my G.I. Joe truck and flip the daggum basket around that had G.I. Joe in it and use it as a microphone. And so I would introduce Mike Douglas, Johnny Carson, anybody I could. I mean, I've got pictures of me when I was like 3 with a bad looking suit jacket and a clip on tie and fake glasses on saying, here's Johnny. So, I mean, I just was blessed that, God gave me the ability to want to do something I had no broadcasters in my family. It's not like I was a Carey or a Van Weeren or a Munson. But I just always wanted to do it. So I think I was on the radio for the first time at 12. I did my first high school football season in 1985 with the Waycross Bulldogs. I had my first talk show at 16 in 1986 when I was 16 years old. I walked into the general manager's office at the Big Wolf in Waycross and introduced myself, and I said, hey, hello, I'm Bill Shanks. And he said, hi, I'm busy. And, but he gave me a show. And June 16th, 1986, I had my first show with Mike Fratello, the head coach of the Atlanta Hawks. I was 16, but I couldn't drive yet. I hadn't gotten my driver's license yet. So my mother had to drop me off at the radio station to do my first talk show. And Mike Fratello was on the show. And after the show, I kept him on too long and he cussed me out. That Italian told me every word that Tony Soprano would later say on The Sopranos later on because he cussed me out. But, I was on TV. I started writing in the newspaper, the Waycross Journal Herald, when I was 16, writing basketball stories and did Braves columns for them when I was like 19 and 20. First got on TV at 18 in Waycross. Then I went to UGA when I was a junior, spent my last 2 years there. Got on TV a little bit there. I was on WUOG in Athens and did that, and did the Georgia baseball games for 1 year on WUOG as well, and had fun with that. Had a great time with that. Then I went after I graduated. I got a job in TV in Brunswick at Channel 21 WBSG. Did that for almost 3 years. Got a job there here in Macon in 96. Did that for 2 years. And then I started a sports production company, did 30-minute weekly shows for the Braves and the Hawks and the Atlantic Sun Conference for like 3 years. Wrote a book about the Braves, Scout's Honor, the bravest way to build a winning team. Certainly $1 at your cheapest bookstore. Definitely not in the Jake Roos book category.
Oh boy.
You probably got paid for your book. I hadn't gotten squat 20 years later. So, and then I got back into radio. I did the Braves Radio Network for a year in 2006. And then I was talking to the guy at 680 about being their Braves expert. And the guy also ran the station here in Macon. And like right when the next week we were talking, he said the guy in Macon just walked out the door. And I've been on the air ever since, 16 and a half years, and had this show. And there you go. That's it. That's it. And so I've had this show for 16 years, and we've expanded. We've got now 10 frequencies, and the stations are in Macon, Warner Robins, Fort Valley, Pinehurst, Rochelle, now Savannah, Brunswick, Waycross, and Blackshear. So, and I still write for the Athens Banner Herald, Santa Ana Morning News, Augusta Chronicle. Do that. I wrote for the Macon Telegraph for about 9 years. So I've just done this all my life and loved it and love it every day, and just consider myself very blessed to sit around and just shoot the bull and enjoy our
show, bro. You're fine.
That's
no
right.
FCC rules here, buddy.
No, thank God. I can say shit all day long. Then.
Yeah. The FCC's out the window, brother.
That's good. No, you know what? I've always said, and you guys have probably heard me, especially when my co-host Russ was on there before he left to go to Nebraska in May. It's like, I want my show to be like a couple of guys sitting around shooting the shit at a sports bar, and it's like, we're all three Georgia guys, but Russ was a Georgia Southern announcer, and Skip is a Georgia Southern fan, and Russ used to root for Georgia Southern, and Charles, who used to be on the show, you remember him, Jake Rowe, he used to be on there with me. He was a Florida fan, so we'd give each other a little hell back and forth, but it'd just be like a couple of guys sitting around like we're doing now, except we got a microphone in front of us.
Right.
And that's what I try to do with my show, and I try to talk sports and keep it within Georgia sports, and it's been pretty successful so far. And you know what? Seriously, my guest, like you two, I love you guys because y'all are so great and do a great job. And I love my guests because y'all provide insight, and I like to go back and forth with y'all, asking questions and going back and forth and having fun. And you guys are two of the best, so I appreciate you guys adding the success of our show for sure.
Well, I've got to be live and in color with you several times.
That's right.
I've always enjoyed those, and those have always been a lot of fun. One of those,
I haven't been invited. That's
not true. I've invited you plenty of times.
Hey, one of these days, Bill, I think it might be a little bit more of a babysitting effort than what you're looking for, but you need to just have me and Roos down, and we can just all get on together. And we'll see how big of a fine we can run up on you.
Well, I was going to invite you
to DawgsHQ budget, buddy.
Yeah, really. Well, I was going to invite y'all to sit in for me when I take a vacation, like in 2030.
In 2030. Okay.
Hey, listen, you give us a good producer, somebody knows what they're doing, that can kind of walk us through it and hold our hand, and we are down. We are absolutely down.
No, we need a nun though that's gonna like hit us over the knuckles with a ruler.
We'll have the Mercer head football coach fired in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, no kidding. No, I've thought about. I think y'all would be great. I think y'all would be. I mean, we just started the show today with Jeff Dantzler.
I saw that
at noon, and Jeff's going to do a great job. But at some point, I am going to have a day off or a week off or something. And I have thought about like some of my guests, like you guys. I think y'all be great. I mean, it's 3 hours. It's not 20 minutes like y'all are used to.
Listen, every time we get on here and we're like, hey, tight show, 35, 40 minutes. And then next thing we know, we're like, dude, we're coming up on an hour and 10, and we need to. So, that would be an absolute blast. My introduction to you was, I used to listen to you on 960 all the time whenever Dave and Chris would have you on in the mornings to do the Braves report.
Yeah.
And then I started working with UGA Sports in 2011. I told the story on here. Roddy Nabolsi and Kip Adams kind of left for ESPN like right before the season started, and Steve brought me on part-time to help out. And I remember it was a crazy day. I was in planning period. I was teaching high school at the time still, and also doing this job. And I was during my planning period. Of course, I didn't really, my head wasn't in it anyway. But you reached out, you called or you texted. I think you called, and you called right on the heels of a prominent Georgia coach at the time. It wasn't Mark Richt, but it was another coach calling me to be like, hey, why is everybody talking about Isaiah Crowell this and Isaiah Crowell that? He's going to be fine. He's, ultimately he was not fine, but he was fine then. Like he started the season and everything.
Yeah.
But I just got off the phone with that, and I don't even know how that coach got my number. It's the first time I'd heard from them. I was stuttering and stammering, and then you called, and you're like, hey, you want to be on the radio? And then those two coming back to back, I was like, man, I made it. I made it. Like I'm there. Steve Patterson's giving me $1,500 a month and to write about sports, and I get to go on the radio. And I just heard from a coach. This is how life's going to be. But luckily it did end up becoming a career. But I'll never forget that day, just because I was so excited because I've always been a radio guy. Like I've always been a listen to the radio, listen to some talk radio, some sports talk radio. I go through cycles on it now. But when I'm in the area, I listen to you, and I don't listen to 960 as much anymore.
There was nothing better, man. When I was on the road for high school games on Friday night, man, than turning on the local station and just listening to the broadcast for the Friday night game. That's the best.
Coffee Town.
No, of course. Yeah, absolutely, man. For sure. Yeah, you listen to the WPPL broadcast of the Fannin County Rebels on a Friday night. Oh, that's primo, man.
That's right.
So,
right.
Bill, if you could just get a firm grip on one thing that you've done in terms of, because you've done a lot of different stuff. If you could just, at this point in your career, and I know you've built something where you've at, so you've probably got a little bit of a bias there, because I know you're proud of what you guys have done there in Middle Georgia, what you've done. What would you grab hold of and just ride it for the rest of the way? What was your favorite part of this whole journey that you've been on?
Well, I love what I do, so it's hard to narrow that down. I mean, the book was hard as hell.
Yeah, the
book is work.
Don't work. Don't write the book for anybody out there who's thinking about it.
I mean, the book is. I mean, that's work, man. I mean, I remember, and I was broke when I was writing the book, so that made it even more fun. But I remember, and I love media guides. Claude Felton will tell you that, because I'm pissed they don't print them anymore. But I've had media guides, and so when I was in my apartment when I wrote that book, and I had media guides strung out all over the place. I had no dogs, I had no money, I had no life, but I, by God, had media guides, and they were all over the place. And I mean, they were they were things in there I couldn't get on the internet. That was work, and I'd love to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I can't tell you what it is, but I've got, and I may even have the second one, but I just don't have any time now. But I tell you what, building that was work. This is. I mean, there's a lot involved in what I'm doing now. I mean, I have long days, and I enjoy the most part. I don't enjoy it when Ken Griner wakes me up at 7:30 and says my station's off there in Savannah. That's kind of a problem. But building these radio stations has been a great experience, because I think Atlanta radio sucks. I think it's awful, and I think they don't talk about stuff in Georgia. And you're
about 85% spot on, at least maybe 90% spot on with that. Other than a show here and a show there, it sucks.
Yeah, it's just because I remember when I did that thing for 680 in 2007, and I just started my show, and I was driving up there. It was like the second month I was on the air, and I was driving up there, and it was the Friday before Mother's Day. And this was on 790, and there was a whole hour. What are you getting your mother and your wife for Mother's Day? And I said, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to. I mean, I'm not saying we don't get off on tangents. We don't talk about food. Damn right we do. We have fun, but who gives a shit? I mean, and I hear somebody told me a couple of weeks ago that they were talking on 680 about your favorite cartoon character. I'm like, it's August. The Braves are the best team in baseball. We got 2-time defending national champions, and you're talking about freaking Donald Duck. I mean, I just don't. I mean, and I don't. I have. We get off on tangents. We talk about food. We talk about music. We talk about the things guys talk about. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I have things to talk about every day. And if I don't, I'll tell you, we got a theme show that's going to be, who's your favorite Georgia Bulldog after Herschel Walker? Call me up, But this talk, and I don't want to talk about LeBron. I don't care about LeBron James. I don't care. If he gets traded to the Hawks, I'll care. But I just think people in Georgia want to talk about Georgia stuff. And you know what? If people get mad at me because, oh, well, he's all about the Bulldogs and the Braves, well, then turn the channel if you don't like it. Those are the two most popular teams in the state. And those are my favorite two teams. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. And I'll talk about Georgia Tech as a courtesy, and I'll talk about Georgia stuff a little bit. But I mean, and I love the Hawks. I love the Falcons drive me crazy, but I love to talk about them too. But it's like, talk about relevant stuff that people care about. Because if somebody, John Kincaid, and I love John, he's a great guy. I hope he's doing well. But John and I got into a thing one time about, well, we got to be a national people in Atlanta. You know, this is a national city. People are all from all over the country. I'm like, John, let me tell you something. If someone from Kansas City, Missouri moves into Atlanta and they want to hear sports talk and they want to hear about their Chiefs, they sure as hell don't want you talking about them because you're not in Kansas City. They're going to get on this phone and they're going to listen to somebody in Kansas City and they're going to listen about Kansas City stuff on that radio, on that phone. So I just think Georgia sports is it, and to build it and to have it in my hometown, to have it where I worked in Brunswick and now in Savannah. And we're going to expand our show more, the show, not the station, into other areas here soon, where it's just going to be, a lot of fun to have that. And I'm not trying to be anybody. I don't really care about going to Atlanta. I want to be in where I'm from. And I am right now with South Georgia.
What's been the coolest part about this for you, Bill? I mean, it sounds like that, the original thing just kind of, it's what you knew you wanted to do. And that's where the place you were able to move from. And so it's able to live your dream to some degree. But I mean, is that it? And also simultaneously, like, what's the coolest story, I guess, that you've had the chance to cover, throughout your career?
Well, I think just I am living my dream. I'm living everybody knew what I wanted to do since first grade, third grade. I mean, they were like, oh, he's going to be on TV. He's going to do the radio. My buddies would come over and they'd want to play Cowboys and Indians. I'd want to play Radio Man, So, I'm living my dream every day, and it's a great thing. I think the people, to be able to know the people, to be able to have, you guys do it too, to be able to interview people and to have Vince Dooley talk to you, and to have people that you grew up, idolizing, it's a huge kick, and to talk to them and get to know some of them and really interview them and be able to ask them questions like y'all are me a little bit, just to really get into their life a little bit. That's a great kick. And, I know Brian Sicker very well because he managed here in Macon in 1997. So getting to know him a little bit is really fun. And to ride the wave with him to do that. I think the best story I ever did, I covered the little spray scandal a lot, that when nobody was touching it up there in Atlanta, and with John Coppola.
Oh, okay.
And when they got messed up, and I knew Copy and talked with him a lot, and I could write a book about that. And it was, I had a lot of information from a lot of people that I knew a lot. I could have, it would have been bad. It was rough. It was, you kind of have to know your place. And I wrote some things that I was proud of, but I could have done like a real investigative piece on that, but I would have needed like legal backup and editors, and they don't have that very much anymore in the newspaper. Right. I remember I had a meeting at the Macon Telegraph, and I said, I've got a lot of information that really could, be a good piece, but he was like, well, it could have been a good piece in 1987. And they just don't do that much anymore, unfortunately. But that was pretty important. But yeah, getting to know all these people and getting to talk with them and I love interviewing people. I love that process. I love to go to spring training and talk to the minor league players, and everybody knows most of the major leaguer story, but to go talk to, like you guys talk to the recruits, I love to talk to the minor league guys and do all that. So it's a great, and then to know a lot of them when they get to the big leagues, and, like Michael Soroka and some of those guys, Max, who's pitching tonight, that's a great kick to be able to do that.
Now I know you're a big pro guy, and obviously, like you said, Falcons, Hawks, etc. and obviously, Georgia Tech. But one thing I don't know that people know about you as much is, but I've learned, is that you're a recruit, Nick. You follow it. You follow recruiting. I know this, and I could produce the text if we needed to. So I guess I'm interested. Where did that love come from? Was it covering the high school football scene? Was it? I mean, how did? And then are there some guys that you're excited about coming up? I guess this year, based on some of the things you've read or studied.
Jake. I think the first time I started following recruiting is when Georgia got Eric Zier, which is probably still one of the biggest recruits in Georgia's history. Because that was the first time they actually really had a quarterback. I love you, Buck, but I mean, I started following that, and it was on the AJC started having articles. I loved to get the Atlanta paper in Waycross, and the AJC used to put out a top 100 for the Southeast, top 100 for the country, top 50 for the state of Georgia, something like that. And I mean, I love that. And then I found that there were magazines that were being printed, like Forrest Davis's recruiting magazine, Jeff Whitaker's recruiting magazine. I've got them somewhere around here, and I've got a stack of recruiting magazines that big. I've got newspapers in the closet 5 feet from me that are all about recruiting. And then I wrote about recruiting a little bit at the Red and Black because I really enjoyed recruiting, and wrote I think 2 or 3, but I just loved it. Because it's the equivalent. I love roster construction, always have, and I love trade rumors. And it's like, what's the college football equivalent of that, right? It's recruiting.
Easily.
Yeah, and so I used to be I hosted Countdown to Signing Day one year in 1998. 25 years ago, I hosted Countdown to Signing Day, which was on Fox Sports South, every year. And me and Jamie Newberg, who was one of the first recruiting guys, he was the co-host with me, but I loved it. And I would get all the magazines and follow it closely, and had buddies that would talk recruiting with me, and we'd call each other up. And I love it. And I'll tell you this, when I was on TV in Brunswick, Champ Bailey was a recruit down there, and he's still the best high school football player I've ever seen. Unbelievable, ridiculous. You just can't even fathom. And I mean, I knew he was going to Georgia because I threatened his life if he wouldn't. I'm like, I'll kill you myself, And Rich McWhorter made sure of that too. But anyway, that's another story. But getting into that and seeing how high school guys were, that made it even more interesting to me. And then when Fred Gibson was a recruit from Waycross, that was, stop watching the Braves game, bro.
Can't stop.
He does this every podcast. This is no slight to you, Bill. By the way,
right. Yeah,
I'm paying attention. I just got to take a glance over there. And see what's going on.
Matt's still pitching. That's important. But when Fred was a recruit, me and a bunch of Waycross guys, and because Spurrier was in Waycross all the time, and we were like, we're not going to let him come in here and get Fred Gibson. And I remember calling Rodney Gardner and saying, Rodney, what can we do? We know what we can't do. What can we do?
I got to feel like this is one of the first times the Bill Shanks influence over the Fred Gibson recruitment story has been told. I got to say,
didn't just get Fred Gibson either. Got Gerald Anderson too. So
yeah, that's right. That's right. Coach Donnan wanted both of them that year. He sure did. And Gerald was pretty good. He was a pretty good little player there. But Freddie G was awesome. My God. I mean, he was just
tremendous.
And then what happened there? So Gerald was headed to Georgia Tech, I believe.
Right.
And Fred was headed to Florida. Yeah. And then Coach Donnan got let go.
Yeah.
And then I guess Rick was able to kind of rally that one at the last minute and get them in the fold. And that was, I mean, honestly, if you think back to that time, that was, I know he inherited a lot of talent from Coach Donnan, but getting some of the guys that he got in that very first class, like Thomas Davis and Odell Thurman and David Pollock and Fred Gibson, was massive. I mean, it was just absolutely huge. I mean, they don't win the hobnail boot game without Fred, you know, catching 2 passes for 80-something yards and a touchdown that day.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. He was a great player. He was a terrific athlete. But you know what? We wrote about 50 letters from people in Waycross telling him why he should go to the University of Georgia. And we didn't do anything wrong because it was rough down about 2000. It was rough. It was a lot of stuff flying, a lot of people doing crazy things, and people getting on the dog vent and talking about doing crazy things. And I'm like, guys, they may get on probation, but it ain't gonna come from Ware County. I can promise you that. and we, I mean, people were getting on there thinking, what year was that? Those guys from Memphis that from Whitehaven High School, Emmett Mitchell and Cletitis Hunt. I said that on TV one time, and the weather girl about fell over because she thought I said clit on TV.
That's a Bark After Dark first.
There you go. I
think it was Cletus Hunt.
Yeah, something like that. You know, but she thought I said the other thing, and so she was falling over. So you know what? It's on his mind, but we just did what we could do to help Fred. And we told him, look, you go to, because see, here's what y'all probably know this, but in South Georgia, the TV stations that they have are Jacksonville stations. And what do Jacksonville stations have on the air? Florida Gator crap, right? And in Albany and Thomasville, where they have TV stations, what do they have on TV there? Florida State crap. So those kids grew up watching all of that Florida and Florida State stuff on TV. And of course it's proximities there, but yeah, they have a lot of content thrown their way. So, but we did what we told Fred, you go to Georgia, you'll be a hero in the state forever. If you go to Florida, we'll never let you back in the county. But other than that, we didn't threaten him at all.
Wait. So how did you, I mean, with that being the case, how did you end up a Georgia fan?
My allegiance to UGA started in the late 70s. I was a little boy. One of my elementary school friends was a guy by the name of Fred Barber, who played for Georgia like in the early 90s for Ray, and whose dad played for Vince Dooley's first team.
Oh, wow.
And Fred Barber's brother is Downing Barber, who started Barberitos. He just sold it recently. And so, but the Barbers were, they were like my second family. I was over there all the time. And so when Fred and his wife would go to the Georgia games, little Fred would stay with us. So, that's how I became a Georgia fan, like that right there with Fred Barber. And of course, when I was 10, they did something kind of nice in 1980.
Yeah, that worked out.
Yeah, that kind of helps guide you in the right way,
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of like my first Georgia game was Robert Edwards' 5 touchdown game. It's the first time I ever watched him in person. So, and that was South Carolina leads at halftime. Georgia blows them out because Robert Edwards goes bananas in the second half. So, and we walked all the way from south of 5 Points to get there because it had been a while since my dad had been and he didn't know where to park. So we parked way down there.
Steve Patterson's house, man.
Almost down there by Westlake, honestly, like almost down by the Beechwood turn.
Yeah.
Bill, thanks so much for coming on. We both got questions that we kind of ask everybody before we cut them loose, and I'll go with mine first. Usually, Roos, I think, asks his first, but you're talking about how sometimes you like to get into music and talk about music on your show, and one of the things I always like to ask people is, listen, if you were standing above your body, out of body experience right now, planning your own funeral, okay, and you could have anybody to send you out the right way. Brandon Adams said Don Rickles. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a band or a singer, but who sends you out? Who would you choose if you could pick anybody to send you into the afterlife?
Well, I love Don Rickles. That's a good. Yeah, I was thinking about musicals. So, geez, I hate that he said Don Rickles. You shouldn't have told me that. I might have said it because I watch Don Rickles videos like I'm obsessed with him on YouTube. He was the best. He was great. Oh my God, what a great ass question. Can you go to a second question and let me think about that?
Yeah, Roos, go ahead.
Sure, because this one should be immediate recall. It is for everybody. So my question is always, what is the worst hotel room Bill Shanks has ever stayed
And
in?
listen, I'm going to go ahead and say I think Bill's probably got some experiences.
I would assume so. You've run around some of the deep parts of South Georgia, Bill. So I bet you've stayed in some
Miami Motel in Pearson. Have you ever stayed there?
No, and I will never stay there.
Yeah, don't do it.
I'd rather go to the Willacoochee Days Inn than that.
Man, if they ever put a Days Inn in Willacoochee.
No, you're no kidding. There's two. All right, so I stayed at one in Myrtle Beach one time, and again, I was broke. I was doing a TV show with the Braves. I had no money, and so I'm like, well, I can't stay in Myrtle Beach. This was 20 years ago. It's going to be ridiculous. So I went like 15 miles south of Myrtle Beach, and it's a wonder I'm alive today. And that was scary. That was about the scariest place. Now the worst one was, all right, so 2003, we take a camper trip. We were doing the Braves TV show called The Brave Show. We were doing a camper trip. We drove all the way up. I swindled these people in Macon to let me have a camper. We went all the way up. We stopped in Greenville, South Carolina, where Brian Sticker was the manager. Can't tell you that story. Then we saw Richmond. No, that was coming back. We saw Richmond, Greenville, Myrtle Beach. Macon was here, and Danville, Virginia. We saw 5 of the affiliates and the Atlanta Braves. So we get to New York, and the dumbass New York people. I mean, my God, how do we lose the war? We get up there, and those people were freaking idiots, and they wouldn't let us park the camper anywhere. And we drove around that stadium 6 times, and we almost got Skip, who's on my show with me now. He and I both almost got arrested. This was like 9 months after 9/11. So any dark person, they were ready to throw in the clinker anyway. And I'm like, I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to be in jail. I'm just thinking one of those Law and Order SVU things where I'm going to be the victim in the damn jail. And so we had a long day, finally get in there, finally get in the game. Atlanta whips her ass. Gary Sheffield hits a grand slam, 500 feet. It was unbelievable. We were causing trouble, and we had tickets, not press passes. And we were tired as hell. We get back into our camper, and we drive around, and we're like, we got to get a hotel. We got to have a shower. We don't know how to work this damn shower in the camper. We smell like damn residue from Virginia. We got to go and find a damn hotel room. So we drive, and we're like, and this is before smartphones, right? So we had no freaking idea of where we were going to go. And we drove around for an hour and a half. We were about falling asleep in the damn camper in the traffic in New York. And we stopped and finally see this hotel room. And, the guy says, how much is it? Whatever, $150. I got the cash, that I'd borrowed. And I give that to him. And we were probably half asleep. We just wanted to get in there, take showers, and get to bed. There's 4 of us, okay? Walk in the hotel room, and there was a freaking rubber that had been used right it was like the covers were pulled back, and they had just done their deed. God knows who in New York and what in New York, right? God knows what it was. They had just done it. There was a damn rubber on the damn thing. I didn't even look to see if anything was in it, but the sheets were pulled back, and I am pissed. I go walking down that hallway, screaming and hollering, and the guys behind me are like, "Oh my God, he's going to get us thrown in jail." I don't give a flying fuck. It's 1 o'clock. I just wanted a hotel room and a bed. I walk in there, and all of a sudden, there's a goddamn rubber on the fucking floor. Excuse me, folks. I apologize, but I was hot. Just imagine you're tired as hell, and all of a sudden you walk in there and you see, some dresser probably going in there doing this deed, and it's like, get me out of this damn place.
I'm sorry we made you relive this moment, Bill.
I am too. I feel bad, Roos. You're not a good person.
You asked the question.
No.
So who's going to send me out? The person in that hotel room almost sent me out that night.
He did.
Next question.
I love it, dude. That like somebody said in the comments, Bill's got the juice. Bill absolutely does have the juice. Who's sending you out, man? Who's singing you into the afterlife?
Oh man, I tell you. You know what? If y'all ever watch YouTube and get addicted to videos?
Yeah.
I've gotten addicted to a video, and it's the weirdest damn thing. And it that might be it. It was Led Zeppelin when they were being put into the Kennedy Center honors, and Hart was singing "Stairway to Heaven."
Yes,
have y'all ever seen that?
Yes, I'm familiar with this video.
That thing is freaking awesome, isn't it?
It made Robert Plant cry.
Robert Plant cried, and he's like killed people before. I mean,
are we calling is Robert Plant really a murderer? Yeah. Are we turning? Are we going to turn this show into what like Tom Segura is to Garth Brooks?
Well, he looks like a murderer. If you've seen him, he looks like he used to look bad. Now he looks old and bad. But
yeah,
that's pretty cool. I tell you, I would probably have some stupid Braves theme send me off. I'd probably have the Braves TV theme song from the 90s send me off, because that's just epitomizes Braves baseball. And hell, they'll probably be playing. They won't play hymnals at my Catholic funeral mass. They'll be playing, Take Me Out to the Ball Game and Glory, Glory to Georgia or something like that, I would imagine. So
hey, that's not a bad way to go, man.
Now I got one more for you, Bill, before you leave. I don't do this for everyone, but I'm curious because I have my own thoughts on this. I haven't spent just a ton of time in Macon, but where's your spot, man? Like, where do we go? Where am I going for a meal if I'm coming to Macon, Georgia?
What kind of meal?
Well, it depends, man. You tell me where the best meal is in Macon, Georgia, and I'm going. That's what I'm saying.
Breakfast, you got Famous Mike's. Let's see. Seafood, you got Jim Shaw's, I think. You're just asking me this question because I'm fat. No, I'm just kidding. Wild Wing Cafe is really good. I do my show from there, but I
love the Wild Wing.
But now I'll tell you what, if you next time y'all are out traveling, watching, going to see a kid, the steakhouse restaurant in Hawkinsville, let me tell you, it'll take the paint off your thinner, brother. It's awesome. Yeah. It's really
I've had a few meals in Hawkinsville. I've never eaten there, but I've never been disappointed in that area, period. In Hawkinsville, they've got that sausage place down there in Hawkinsville that used to serve. I don't know if they still do or not, but they used to serve.
Yeah.
And it was outrageous.
Oh, that meat market?
M&T Meats, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that place is
M&T, and they got the Butcher Block in Eastman, and we just got Carol Sausage on with us down in Ashburn.
Okay,
that's a really good spot, But yeah, I know Macon's. I know people make fun of Macon. Macon's a pretty good spot, and I've kind of found a home here, and I like it, and But Jake, when I go to Hawkinsville, I kind of feel like I'm in South Georgia.
Yeah,
I would agree. It's kind of, this is middle Georgia, of course, but when I go to Hawkinsville, I'm like, okay, I'm home. I'm in South Georgia because I'm a South Georgia boy. Hell, we're Waycross is 37 miles to the state line. You can't get except Folston much southern Georgia than where I'm from, and so it's but Macon's pretty good too. But those are some good restaurants. I'll take care of you if you ever come do my show from here, Jake Roos.
Hey. Listen,
I'm just waiting. You just got to call me. That's what I'm saying.
If you want to go on vacation, leave us a couple of instructions on a sticky note and a good producer.
Put a key under the mat.
Put a key under the mat and leave us with a producer. Well, listen, we'll do it for more than one day.
We'll bring Palmer.
Yeah, we'll do it for more than one day.
Look, y'all can come.
Palmer doesn't even know how to work a board, but we'll let him figure it out on the fly, dude.
He will. He's that smart.
Y'all can come stay up. Y'all can come stay at my house, stay in my basement, and there's a bar here, for crying out loud. There's 4 TVs. There's 2 beds and a sofa. Yeah. And the 2 beds are in the UGA room, so you'll be fine. So
book it. Just book it.
No, I'm telling you, that would be a great. Y'all give me a Christmas present. Let me go on vacation and go to sleep for 7 days. I'll be
get it on the ledger, buddy. We are in. We are in, dude. You brought it tonight, man. This was so much fun. It's reminiscent of the Dean Leggy show, honestly, because Dean had a wad of cash and was just like shaking cash into the camera and everything. It was outrageous. But Bill, this was so much fun. Rich. I hope you had as much fun as we did.
I did. I had a great time, and again, I'm just so thankful to you two for all the great segments you've helped for my show, and it's always fun to have you guys on, and people love. I'll get people texting me, text Roos and ask you about some recruit in Winnipeg or something, whatever. But y'all are great. Y'all and I followed y'all to Don 3 and DawgsHQ too. So I'm glad y'all are there and both doing well. And Roos, I'll have you on the show tomorrow. And Jake Rowe, glad to have you back on the show today for sure.
Yeah, man. Enjoy.
Thank you for having us, Bill. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Take care, buddy.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Roos.
Dude, Bill Shanks F-bombs was not something I was prepared for tonight, but then it
was coming. I knew it was coming. I knew it was, and I'm ready for it. That's why he's on. That's why he was on. It's why it won't be the last time Bill Shanks comes on either.
It was fantastic.
The next time we get something inflammatory, like anything inflammatory on this beat, we got to have him on because he's such a loose cannon in the best way.
Who, Shanks?
Yeah.
Oh, no question. Yeah, he's a loose cannon. All right. So before we get to Jake on Jake tonight, let's talk a little bit about Bird Dogs. Get over. If you haven't picked up your Bird Dogs yet, I definitely recommend it. Of course, I am one of the biggest supporters of Bird Dogs that you're probably going to ever meet. The Uncle Bucks, I have 2 pairs of. For his pumps, they sent me a pair of. And then I think it's the Teddy Rubskins. Just if you scroll down there just a little. Yeah, there you go. I've got 2 pairs of those as well. I got some old school ones that they don't even sell anymore, which tells you how long I've been rocking with them. So get over to birddogs.com. Producer Palmer, can you throw yourself up on the screen real quick, son, so we can see the hat? Yeah, you can get the white tech hat with promo code DAWGS. That's DAWGS. Look at Palmer over here. Look at resplendent as usual. Palatial, some would say. It's a tremendous deal for you, though. The shorts are incredible. They're functional. They do it all, man. I wear them all the time. I love my Bird Dogs, and I'd recommend them if they didn't sponsor us, but they do. And you can also get a deal if you go over and support them as well. So use code DAWGS to get the Tech Fit hat over at birddogs.com. Hope you will. Great product, great people. Love everything I've had from them. birddogs.com.
All right, Jake on Jake, I've got a good question for you. I'm sure you've heard this Rich Men North of Richmond song. Okay. Yeah. Funny or inspirational?
The thing about the fudge rounds, maybe.
God, I'd lose it every time.
You can't, come on now, man. Yeah.
I know he's not, but the thing is, he's not wrong. He's not wrong about that.
No, sure.
But there's something about throwing fudge rounds in that song. Like, of all the things you could throw, not a honey bun, not a big gulp. No, he went to the fudge rounds, a bag of them. Who gets fudge rounds in a bag?
I mean, yeah, of course, sure. No, the fudge rounds reference was very strange to me. It was an oddly specific Little Debbie. Now, you're a Little Debbie guy as well. I mean, I know you don't keep them.
It's been a while, but
yeah, you're right. You don't keep them at your house. I don't either. I mean, I think
the last time I had some was like a couple Christmases ago. We had some Christmas trees.
But what do you when you're getting a Little Debbie? What you getting? That's not my question.
The Cosmic Brownie.
The Cosmic Brownie. What an ass choice.
Yeah, I love those. I love those fudge brownie things, man. I'm a big brownie.
That's such a bad choice.
The Cosmic Brownie, dude.
Oh God, that's horrible,
dude. I ain't throwing any of them away. You know what I mean. I got great willpower.
Me either. But if I can pick any of them, the Cosmic Brownie's so far down the list. The Nutty Buddy is
okay. Well, I didn't know that was considered. I didn't know that was a Little Debbie.
What?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I actually do have some of those.
Are you aware of the product line? Do you know?
Yeah, I am. I just didn't realize a Nutty Buddy was a Little Debbie. I thought it was something else.
What did you think it was?
I don't know, man. It's not Little Debbie. No, but we actually have some like imitation Little Debbie's we got from Costco. The Skippy peanut butter bars.
Oh, yes.
They're put together exactly the same.
Okay.
Those are incredible. I haven't been eating them lately though, because I'm trying to eat it right. But
I get it. I'm a big devil cream guy. I really like the devil cream.
those are good.
A tremendous one.
Are Twinkies Little Debbie?
They're not. That's a Hostess.
Okay, yeah,
But I do think that Little Debbie makes a thing that's like the Zinger.
Yeah,
You know, it's like the raspberry coated one.
Yeah,
with the coconut flakes on it.
Now the Swiss roll is also pretty incredible. I don't have much use for the Star Crunch.
Star Crunch is gross.
Yeah.
Oatmeal cream pie is an elite choice. There's no question about it. I prefer to take two. I rip the first one open and then I insert the second one and then make a sandwich.
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 You know they do have double-decker oatmeal cream pies.
Yeah, you know those are like 500 calories, Palmer.
but what's the difference? But what's the difference between doing the two oatmeal cream pies together?
They're smaller. They're actually smaller. The regular oatmeal cream pies in the box are smaller than the double-decker cream pie.
Okay.
So it's not much better for you. I'm not saying it's health food. It's not a salad, but it's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So
Rich man north of Richmond. You laugh at it a little bit.
That part made me laugh.
His voice is hauntingly incredible.
Oh,
I mean, he's
really,
very
really
talented.
Really
and I get where he's coming from. He's singing for people that are hurting, and I can definitely identify with that. But when he says fudge rounds, I lose it every time.
Yeah, absolutely every time. Like when I was listening to it first go round, I was like, yo, this guy is like really getting after it. Like he's really flexing the chords. And then he said fudge rounds, and I was like, what the hell? Like, where did that come from? I mean, I appreciate it. I appreciate the reference. We got, by the way, over here, I want to acknowledge this. Ducati 1098 said, Tickanetly, Georgia over here. I Googled the location of that, and it looks like it's in the greater Cherry Log, Newport, Amicalola area. So Ducati 1098 up here in my neck of the woods. So shout out. Yeah, rock and roll, man. All right. So my question to you, Jake Rose, not birthday today, but very recently. It's Jake Rose's birthday week, essentially. What's the Jake Rowe birthday plate, man? I mean, where are you going? Where are you going? What are you getting? What are you ordering? What's on the Jake Rowe birthday plate?
Well, I mean, I'm not a huge like celebrate your birthday kind of guy.
Me either. I'm not either.
First of all, either. Like I don't.
I'm like treat it like a normal day.
Yeah.
I might take the day off. That's like maybe, man. That's a maybe. I didn't the last 2 years.
But we didn't, with it being middle of the week, we celebrated it on Saturday night. We got a table over at Chuck's Fish. You know, a few drinks, some fried fish. Dude, they had a special with kind of cubed mahi and red snapper. Gave you like 12 pieces for like $14, which is, you know, highway robbery at Chuck's because it's very, very expensive. Sauce was good and spicy. It was awesome. But yeah, I had some of that. I had some sushi. I had an entree. Few drinks, few laughs, good time. Maybe I just want to go have something
I'm not
good.
saying what you had. I'm just asking if you could choose, man. Like you make your plate whatever you want.
Yeah, if I could choose anything.
Yeah, man. Put it together.
I do ribeyes. You know, like I'll never turn down a good prime ribeye with a good cap on it with a good spinalis. I'm probably saying some stuff people don't understand, but that ribeye cap, dude, is the best part of it. I like getting that by itself whenever I can. But yeah, I love a good ribeye, good bone-in ribeye too, because there's some enjoyment I get out of grabbing the bone and picking it up and eating it. You know, whenever I get down to the bone. I did it at Elmo's Steakhouse first time I ever went, St. Elmo's. I asked the bartender, I said, is it going to offend anybody if I grab this tomahawk ribeye and eat it off the bone? She said, darling, you just pay $60 for that steak. You can do whatever you need to. And I was like, oh yeah, there we go.
I've never seen anybody eat chicken like you do either. So
what's that? The wings?
I mean, bone-in chicken, the way that you do is
Oh, the way I eat every little piece of chicken.
Oh, buddy, there's
it's
stuck the bones dry. There's nothing left, man.
Yeah. It looks like the ants have gotten to it.
Absolutely.
You know? Like it looks like it's about 17 days old, and the ants have gotten in there and gotten everything off of it. That's very true. That's very true. But yeah, I mean, I would big ribeye with a potato of some sort. You know, I mean, I don't, you know, the older I get, the more adventurous of an eater I become. And I even told you the other day I ate some tandoori chicken and enjoyed it. And boy, curry just doesn't do me right. But yeah, I'll red meat, man. Red meat.
Yeah, no, I get it. Well,
all right, y'all. We'll be back with you next Sunday. Parts unknown, weight unknown. We don't really know.
Monday.
Yeah, who knows? We may have the president on. You know, we may have Rusty Mansell on. Who knows? But we will be back this next Monday. And until then, we love you guys. You're awesome.